Welcome to this CSS tutorial. Now in this video we're going to continue on with the CSS box model. Now in the last video we specified some CSS box model with we did the border and we did the padding and we also did the content. So everything in here is a content. So this is a padding, this is the padding box, and this is the border. This is the border, one of the box as well. And we also specified the margin, okay, the margin, but we didn't give an example of the margin. So in this video we're going to be covering the CSS margin property. Now, like I said before, the browser automatically adds a margin for us, a default margin for us. You can see the margin over here. It's probably a 15 or 10% margin. You can see the margin over here. So we're going to be looking at margin in this video, CSS margin property. So let's get started. So now I want to name these classes accordingly. Okay, so you can see I already bumped this. I already named this this inline style a class of para3. Now let's name the first paragraph. Let's give the first paragraph a class, so let's just name this accordingly so we can understand what we're doing. So we'll give this a class of para1, and then we have para2, and then in this inline style we have a class of para3. And now let's remove this this big para. Let's name it para4. Name this para4. And now let's go to our CSS. So remember we styled it, so let's just remove this big para here. Yeah, let's say para4. Now is that. And now what we want to do in this video, I'm going to add another paragraph because we want to be working on examples in this box model. So I'm going to copy this paragraph. So we'll just do the same. I'm going to copy this whole paragraph and I'm going to duplicate it. Okay, so now I'll copy that. Now let's go down here. Now let's paste it. Now for this paragraph we're going to call it para5. We're going to give this a para5. Okay, so now we have 5 paragraphs in our HTML web page. So this is para5, and this is para4, and this is para3, this one's para2, and this is para1. So now let's refresh this. Now let's go to our style sheet so we can let's also style the para5. We styled the para4, so let's style the para5. So we just copy and paste this. Let's just copy this and let's paste this now. So we'll just name this, we'll remove the 4 and put 5 since it's the para5. Okay, and the background color will be the same. Yeah, the background color should be the same. But let's load this on our web page first. And now you can see we have 2 boxes. We have 2 boxes now on our web page. So let's for the text, I want the text to be different. So let's give this a different text color. So for the para5, let's give it a different text color. So let's give it a color of let's just come up here. So let's give it a color. Let's give it a color of what are we gonna give this now? Let's give it a color of green. Let's just give it a color of green. Okay, now let's refresh this now on our web page. So we have a green color. The green color don't really look good. So let's change it. Let's just give it a color of let's give it a purple color. Let's give it a purple color, yeah. And now this looks a little bit good at least. Okay, so what we want to be doing in this video, we want to let's say you want we did a margin before, but now we talked about margin before, but now we want to give an example of the CSS margin property. So let's say, for example, you want to add a margin here. You want to add more margin over here. You want this box to shift a little bit. So you come inside the para 5. You can come inside the para 5 and you specify a margin. Let's just bring this up. Sorry. So you say margin. Use the margin property, and let's just give this a margin of 20 pixels. 20 pixels, yeah. And now if we refresh this now on our web page, now you can see the space. Did you see that space? Now we have more extra spaces here. We have the space all around our box. You can see the space here. You can see. So we have the space. Now you can see the margin. So now let's say, assuming we want our box, we want our box to go all the way over here. We want our box over here, and let's say we want let's assume we want an image over here. Let's say we want an image over here and we want our box to be over here. So how to do that? And don't forget, like I said, every single element inside our web page has this box model. Okay, the H1 has this box model, the H2 has this box model, the H3 and the paragraph. So we can make a box model for any of our HTML elements. So don't forget that even the body has this box model. Okay, so now let's just, like I said before, let's push this box over here, and let's assume we want to put an image over here. So let's just push this box over here. Now to do that, you go over to your para 5. Let's create some space here. Okay, so you go over to your para 5. Let's bring this up. So you go over to your para 5. So you say margin. You say margin hyphen left. Now the property for that is margin left. Now you can see them over here on the right side of your screen. Now you can see we have margin left, we have margin right, we have margin bottom, and we have margin top. So now in this case we are using the margin left. Okay, since we are using the margin left now, so we say margin left, and we want to push this far away from the left hand side. So let's just give this a 400 pixels. Let's use a 400 pixels. So now let's refresh this now on our web page. Now, did you see that? Did you see how that margin left works? Now you can see now we have a very big space over here. Now you can see how the box have shifted over to the right hand side. So that is the margin left property. Now you can play with this. Now you can play with these properties. You can say margin left, you can play with it, you can say margin right. If you want it to the right hand side, you say margin right. If you want it to shift from the right side, you say margin right. If you want it to shift from the bottom, you say margin bottom. So that is how that works. Just play with this code. Play with these codes. Play with all these CSS properties. Now, as it is for the margin property, is still the same for the padding property. Okay, you can also use the padding. So let's give an example of this padding property. So let's say we want a padding. Let's go over to our web page. Now let's say we want a padding. Let's give this a padding of padding left. Let's say we want some padding inside our box here. So we come over here. So you can just come over here and say padding. You say padding left. So padding left, we are going to give this a padding left of 40 pixels. Let's give this a padding left of 40 pixels. And now let's go over to our web page. Now I want you to see the space that will create here. I want you to see the changes now. So if we refresh this, now you can see this space. You can see we have more space here. So that is the padding left. It has shifted over from the left hand side. You can see that is the padding. We now have more spaces here. You can see the space over here. So let's just let's remove that. It's not really look good for the padding left. Let's remove the padding left. Okay, let's just remove this. Now let's reload this. Let's reload this back, and now we have it back. Now let's say you want more space at the top here. let's say you want more space between these two boxes, all you can do, you use the margin top property. Come over here. So this margin top, this property here, the margin top property. So let's use it now. So you say margin hyphen top. Now for the margin top, let's say let's give this a margin top of 50 pixels, because we want it to shift a little bit. So say margin top of 50 pixels. Yeah, and now let's refresh this on our web page now. Now you can see we have this big space between the two boxes. Now you can see this space now between the boxes. So that is the margin, that is the good thing about the CSS margin property, the CSS margin and padding property. These properties here, they help you to move your elements in your web page very well. They help you to move them in the manner you like. Okay, you can move them anywhere you want. You can move them to the right, to the left. You can move them anywhere you want. So that is the sweet thing about the margin and padding property in CSS. Okay, now like I said before, everything, let's go over to our web page. Like I said before, everything inside our web page is considered a box model. They have the box model around them. Every element inside of our web page, they have this box model property. So you can see both the paragraph, we can, like I said before, we can make a box model for this the download section. For the H2, we can also make the box model for the H1. We can make box model for absolutely everything inside of our web page. So now, for example, now come here, let's go to the body. The body, now what I want to let you know that the body is not an exception. The CSS box model, we can use it in absolutely everything inside of our web page. So we can also add a box to our body. Now you can come here, let's add a border to the body. Let me show you this. So you say border, let's give this a border of let's just give this a 4. Let's make this standard so you can see it. So you say border 4 pixel, border of 4 pixels, solid, 4 pixels, solid. Let's give this a solid green, okay. Now I want you to see this. Now let's refresh this. Now you can see that now if we do this now, you will see why I'm always saying that the box model can be applied to absolutely every element inside of our web page. So now if we refresh this, now you can see this box. Now you can see, did you see the box? Did you see the green line all over for our web page? Now did you see this box? Now you can also see the margin, the default margin the browser has given to us. You can see the margin around of our box, and you can also see the line around of our box. Now, so this is the box model. If we can also do a box model for the H1, we can also do a box model for the H2. So that is the CSS box model. In the next video, we're going to still continue on with the CSS box model, but as for the margin, this is the CSS margin. We have done this example now. So this is how you can shift your elements inside of your web page. Okay, yeah, so that will be it for this video, guys, concerning the CSS margin property. I will see you guys in the next video.